Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jumper and today I'll be doing my top 5 favourite God of War 2018 moments. Now, God of War 2018 is probably one of my favourite games that I've played over the last few years, and mainly because it's such a nice sort of reboot, because it's like a soft reboot from the original God of War games, and this one is basically set in Norse mythology instead of being set in Greece. And I just really like the game as a whole, where you play as Kratos and you basically just go around Midgard along with Kratos' son Atreus, just fighting, a lot of beings like gods, trolls, Draugr, those sort of enemies. And today I'm just going to be doing some of my favourite moments from that game. So for number 5 is the Blades of Chaos. Now, the reason why this is at the very bottom of the list is because I'm not saying this is a bad moment. I'm saying that I feel like this has been a bit done to death. Like, I've seen a lot of people online just reacting to the Blades of Chaos and saying how cool this moment was, because this comes about around the halfway point of the game where Kratos has to go to Helheim, a place of freezing cold, and only his Blades of Chaos would work. And this is also when Atreus has fallen ill. And the reason why I think that this is being a bit done to death is because I think that a lot of people have been saying that, oh, this is a cool moment. Kratos is getting back his old weapons that he used to kill the gods in Greece. But it's still a good moment, and I see why people enjoy that moment. It's just that I feel like that this moment has been talked about a bit too much. I feel like it would have been a bit higher if it wasn't just talked to death about it. I still like this moment, but that's just my opinion. For number 4 is the Valkyrie fights. Now, the Valkyries are probably one of the hardest boss fights to do in the entire game, because if you look at the other boss fights that you do, like the Border boss fight, the Magni and Moni boss fight, and several other boss fights, those are quite easy because you can just sort of predict their movements and kind of react to what they're going to do. Whereas with the Valkyrie fights, they kind of have their own unique moves, and then when you come to fighting the Valkyrie Queen, Sigrun, she basically has all of the Valkyrie moves, and she basically puts into one, and she's a lot tougher, and she's more of a tank compared to the other Valkyries when it comes to taking hits from Kratos and Atreus. And I really like these fights because they can be taken all around the different realms. So places like Midgard to Alfheim to Helheim and Vanaheim, but I don't think you can access Vanaheim. I think you can access Vanaheim. I can't exactly remember. I haven't played the game in a while. But I do like these fights just because of how interesting they are and how you can get to them, because the only way you can get to them, from what I can remember, is that you need to use the chisel that you got from the giant's hammer, and that's the only way to access the hidden chambers to access the fights. And I still really enjoy these battles, and I think these are a real gear change in terms of battles. For number 3 is the mural painting design image things in Jotunheim. Now, what I like about this moment is that it shows both Atreus and Kratos. So all of the major moments from the beginning of the game. So Kratos and Atreus setting off to the mountain, to them fighting Magni and Mogi, to them fighting Border, and all of the main sort of stuff in the game. And what I like about this is that it talks about, again, what I just said, what they did in the game, but also kind of sets up the future games, because Kratos sees an additional image in that mural in Jotunheim, where it's basically him and Atreus, and there's some sort of I think gas or wisps or whatever it is coming out of them, or swirling them or something, and I feel like that's a really good sort of seed to plant for the future 2 games. So for God of War Ragnarok and the third God of War game. And I feel like that's a really cool way of using, images to show how the games, or the future two games, could possibly go. For number 2 is Baldur's first introduction. Now, what I like about this moment is that it sets up the beginning of the game, and it shows you how this isn't like the God of War games in the past, and that this is like a whole new thing. It shows you not only new characters, a new environment, but also new kinds of combat. So with this, you've got you can use your Leviathan axe, and it also shows new players the Spartan Rage, and I really enjoyed this moment because it basically, because there's one moment when Baldur and Kratos are basically with holding each other's grasp or something, because I think they each threw a punch and the other one caught one of their hands when they threw the punch, and this moment is when they're shoving and stuff hardly and stuff like that. It's like they divide the path that they are, and then it kind of creates a sort of chasm sort of thing, and that shows how strong both Baldur and Kratos can be, and shows how the sort of limits that they can do with their strength alone, and that's a really cool moment. And I also like how Baldur tries and sort of intimidates Kratos because he believes that Kratos is a giant, when in actuality it's actually Faye, Kratos' dead wife, who's the actual giant. And I just really enjoyed this entire moment where Baldur kind of sort of taunts at Kratos, saying that he can't be hurt. So yeah, I really enjoyed this moment. And for number 1 is the secret ending to the game. So this is when, if you come back from Mutenheim and go straight to your house, it depends. I think it depends on if you take the either the boat home or just take the gateways home. But I took the gateway home to activate this secret ending, and it's basically when you get to see Thor, and it's basically Atreus having a vision about Thor and about how Ragnarok is coming. And this is kind of similar to Baldur's first introduction, because where with that one, basically Baldur's introduction is basically kind of, to me, sort of setting up the game and how that game from beginning to end is going to go and end. For the secret ending with Thor, I feel like that's kind of setting up the next game and seeing how epic and grand that one is, and how you can get to fight Thor possibly, and I hope that you get to fight Thor 3 times or something like that, or you get to face Thor twice. The first time you fight him, he completely wrecks you, he completely destroys you, he breaks your spirit, that sort of thing. Then with the second time, you absolutely defeat Thor, you get the upper hand on him, and that's how I would feel I will make a sort of battle with Thor in the next God of War game. That's how I would do it personally. Just have him fight him twice, have Thor completely break Kratos' spirit and that stuff, and then you get to accept your revenge later in the game on Thor. And yeah, I feel like this ending is a good sort of starting off point for me for Ragnarok when that game begins. And I just really enjoyed this ending, and I think it's a good sort of small introduction to Thor and how he could be a possible threat in the next game. So that's been my top 5 favourite moments in God of War 2018. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.